Hi, I'm Shannon McGee with Network in Action here in Nashville, Music City, and the surrounding areas. And today I have Jenny Christmas with Rockstar HR. Thanks for joining me, Jenny.
Thank you for having me, Shannon. So excited.
I'm excited too. I can't wait to learn more and hear more about how did you start your business? What made you decide to say, I'm doing this on my own way?
Yeah, great question. What's funny is in my experience, I've worked with some great companies. I think we probably can all like look back and say, wow, this company really stands out. And then there's probably some others that were like, something happened along the way. And what was interesting is the company had brought in some great people. The team was in alignment. The managers were supportive. There was tons of growth opportunities. And I genuinely liked going to work every day. And then one day I looked up and they tripled in size. They had failed to ensure that all of their processes and what made them unique had transformed with the growth. And so there's just this huge misalignment between talent, values, operations, and it creates so many pain points within the organization. I noticed that they started hiring and retaining the wrong people, which ultimately resulted in a very toxic culture, and everybody was just miserable. And so ultimately, I went in and over the years developed processes and strategies around building the right talent, aligning the people, the culture, ensuring there was a balance with the business needs. I think that a lot of times HR professionals get so laser focused on the people side of it that they hesitate and they don't realize what they need to do to realign with the business needs. And I started doing that for several organizations as their employee, and I was like, why not go do this for others? I think it's not just one company that has this issue. There are so many more. And just to be able to go and make an impact on those organizations, it was a big driver. So really
You know, it's
excited.
it's exciting. It's probably a little challenging too, in that, and let me rephrase it. Let me put it this way. In today's business marketplace, especially here in the Nashville area, right? We've got lower unemployment rates. Talent is everything. I mean, talent's always everything. We're just going to give
Yes.
that caveat. But in this environment, and it's also competitive, for lot of kind of people that help some way in the hiring process. What sets you apart? Like, what makes you different from other companies out there that are helping with, talent management, acquisition, culture, all that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I like to ask this question. If your team was 20% better across the board, how much better would your day be? And I'm sure they'd be like, well, yeah, it'd be amazing. Like, but how do I go about doing that? So what differentiates me, the process is simple and it's all about understanding the individual business needs and the individual business itself. Who are they as an organization? I'm not looking to go in and change them. I don't want to bring in a bunch of new processes that don't work for them and cost a lot of money. I want to take what exists and help them curate what gives them the best opportunities to hire and retain rock star talent. There are so many strategies that we can look at and hone in on the right talent pool. Um, I think it's important to also really talk about what my values are, because just like when we go out and recruit people for our company, we want those values to align. And I think it's important that someone who comes to work with me knows what's important to me. And so, first and foremost, my number one value is rock on. And what that means is I always bring my A game, always bring your A game. Number two, perform with your soul. Authenticity is the only way to go in my book. Number three is dance like no one is watching. Always be 100% true to yourself and just be you. The fourth one is it takes two to tango. So success happens when we work together versus against each other. I want to collaborate and I want to work with someone. I'm not looking for there to be a push and pull. Like there's so many opportunities for us to do it together. And the last one is all along, I guess, the lines of Rockstar HR, but listen to the music. What we start with may not be what we end up with, but the successes and failures along the way will result in a beautiful song. And so I'm hoping to find some like-minded companies that want to come out and work with me.
That's so great. Like that, I love the way that you shared your values, and it really resonates with me. And working with someone who's passionate about what they do is a game changer. You're not just trying to fill positions. I say this about my groups. I'm not just trying to put anybody in there. It's got to be someone
Right.
that's a great fit, right? Not just a great fit for me, but a great fit for the group, because it's actually not about me, right? Just like you,
Absolutely.
like your core values or how you conduct yourself, how you drive, like everything comes from it, but it's not about you. It's about them. And it sounds like you
Absolutely.
create some really cool custom solutions for people. So tell me, do you have a favorite story or maybe something like a kind of a client story that you'd be willing to share?
I actually do. I have one. Obviously, we all have tons of stories that we could jump in and tell. I could go on because I just love people. But the most recent one is my favorite. And that was when I finally went out on my own and I started working with the owner at Henry Drilling here in Franklin, Tennessee. His name's Brandon. And I knew that he needed to hire someone to handle his service department, but he just couldn't find enough hours in the day to handle that. I mean, we all know recruiting is a full-time job. You have to be on it all the time. You got to schedule all of the phone calls and the follow-up and the interviews. And he was like, I need it. And I'm really struggling in my business, but I don't know how to make it all work. And I said, you know what? I want to help you, like, even if it's just a conversation. And so he and I jumped on a call. We started talking about what the role looks like, what was important to him, how does this person need to fit into the culture, and what were his non-negotiables. And a lot came out of that conversation. It was literally a 30-minute conversation. He decided to move forward with retaining me as his recruiter. And I committed to him and I said, I promise I'm going to find someone within 30 days, which is a huge goal.
Wow.
And I went through and screened people for him. I sent him the relevant information so that he could assess whether they'd be a good fit. Took him out of everything. I was the middle person for all communication. Within 2 weeks of the conversation, we had 5 candidates lined up for in-person interviews. I went to his office, sat through each one as a support for him and the candidates, kind of just to relieve some of the tension, make sure that we were asking the right questions. And we found the rock star he was looking for. And so he's been with the company now 30 days later. I went by and checked in on him, and the owner had this glow about him. And I said, do you see the light at the end of the tunnel now? And he was like, absolutely. He was blown away that the guy came in, did exactly what he said he was going to do within the first few days, honestly. And he's written me referrals before, just saying that I brought him great qualified candidates, but ultimately we ended up with a rock star. So it was something that made me feel really good about what I'm doing and what I can offer.
What a great story. I just love that because when it's right, it's awesome. When
Yeah.
it's not, it's a whole nother thing. But when it's right, it's awesome. So Jenny, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so I'm available by email, jenny@rockstarhr.com, or always available phone and text, 407-744-1684. And you can find me on LinkedIn pretty much most of the day. So
Well, I'm sure that's awesome. Well, Jenny, thanks for spending time with me today. I loved hearing your story, but more, I love your passion, not just for what you do, but for helping others. That speaks to me because I have a similar philosophy, and I know that anybody who has a chance to talk with you, work with you, they're going to find a great rock star taking them through the journey. So, thanks for spending time with me today.
thank you so much, Shannon. It was my pleasure.